Hi, my name is Samantha Ramos, and I would like to take a moment to tell you some key takeaways I got from attending 5 of this year's 42nd Annual Business Week events, and the lessons I learned and how I can apply them to my career. The first event that I attended was the La Quinta keynote lecture by Craig Boyan, President and COO of HEB. His main point that he was trying to get across to students was the importance of people and relationships in the business. The example that he used to really get this across to students was how he knows every manager by name. Every store manager he knows and he has discussed with. They are not just manager A, manager B on a piece of paper and somebody he meets only during official meetings in a group. They are John Doe and Jane Doe and people with families and aspirations outside of the business. And that's important. I'm a very personable person. I know that people all have individual talents that they can bring to the table, but I feel like that gets lost in my mind when it comes to thinking about businesses or corporations. So it was a strong point. It really hit me hard hearing that a CEO or a COO, president of a corporation, not a small business, a corporation, still feels that people matter and the relationships you have with the people in the company matter. So for me, I intend to own multiple small businesses, and I am not to be the manager of every one of them. I will hire a manager. So it's comforting to know that my personality of wanting to treat a person as an individual with aspirations and interests outside of a job, even if they love it, is comforting to me that I can still act that way and be successful in my businesses. So that's my key takeaway from hearing Craig Boyan speak, is that those personal relationships are important and they matter for a company, large or small. The only issue with me is that they are still an employee. They're not just an employee, but they are still an employee. So I will need to learn to be assertive, to know when to be assertive. And if something is going wrong, don't be demeaning to them. They're a person, I can discuss it with them, but be assertive on how they can improve or I can improve. It's not always just their fault. The second lecture that I attended was by Inigo Arzak, and he spoke on international networking and how to do it effectively. What I got from his lecture was through the main story that he told during his speech, and the main takeaway that I got from it was the importance of truthfulness. Now, during his story, he told us that the specific location of the business that he was working at was losing about 20% of their loans. And when asked directly by the CEO, how is this company doing? How is the location that you're working at doing? Inigo decided to be upfront and honest. He told the CEO that there was 20% that they were losing in trying to make their loan sales. And his direct bosses were not happy with it. They didn't like the idea of telling the CEO that their location is slacking. But Inigo realized the CEO can't make a difference. This company can't make a change and make up those 20% of lost sales unless I'm being honest with them and telling them, here's the issue, let's work on finding it. And that's important to me because if you can't be honest, if you can't be truthful, you can't be effective. There's no way I can identify that I'm lacking in an area if I don't know or first admit there's a problem occurring. And that's something I'm going to apply to my future and realizing it's okay. Deficiencies happen. It's a part of life. I'm admitting it. I'm acknowledging it. Let's work on overcoming it and making my business better. The third event that I attended was From Dressing for the Job You Want to Understanding Corporate Culture. This one, I got a lot out of the fashion show portion of it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very useful for all the students. But the key point that I want to discuss was the second half of it, discussing company culture. And my main takeaway was realizing, be yourself. It is okay. Seeing the panelists, the different spectrum of the company cultures was very useful to me. We had one person, two actually, from USAA and another from New Star. Very different company cultures. One of them, if you dress up very spiffy and very professionally every day, they ask you, are you going to a funeral or are you going to an interview? New Star, that's how they dress every day. Nobody's going to ask them. If you dress down, they might start to question you. And I find that very interesting and very useful to me. Students are always so interested in making sure you fit that corporate model to a T so you can get that job. But that's not what I've learned. I'm not going to enjoy working in a place unless it aligns with my own culture and my own values. I may enjoy the job, but not the company. So if I don't want to dress up super professionally every day for the rest of my life for that one job, for the next 10 years at that job, then I shouldn't go work for that job. And just seeing the difference in company culture was very impactful for me. So the way I want to use that is to know that it's okay that I don't want to dress up professionally in slacks and heels and a starched and pressed business blouse for the next 10 years. I'd rather work at a company who has values that are similar to USAA, wearing that polo and some khakis and some flats every day, or even tennis shoes. For them, that's okay, because the facility is so large. So that really affected me, to knowing that it's all right if I don't want that very super professional job. I can go work for that company that aligns with my culture and values much more accurately. The fourth event that I attended was Thursday morning on Landon Napier's speech about technology's role in the global economy. During his lecture, he mentioned how there are two industries right now, one growing exponentially, it is booming right now, another one that is stagnant, is being very slow. These stagnant industries are things such as healthcare, education, and construction. These exponentially growing industries are technology, big data, AI, drones, cell phones, even solar panels. Now, what I took away was one point that he made in one of his slides, and it read, "Apply these technologies into existing industries and companies." This struck me because my interest is in the animal field. That's where I know I can have the most impact for people. The animal field, the animal industry is not part of this booming industry. It is not a technology-based thing. It fits much more closely into the category of the stagnant industry. So the reason that point stood out to me is because I can apply technologies from this expanding industry into the one that I want. I can, for example, solar panels is something that I can use in future businesses. Trying making my companies and my physical locations more environmentally sustainable by using solar panels is something that I can very realistically do. I can make a difference in the animal industry and something that I know that I can do while still participating in these exponentially growing industries. Solar panels right now too, their price is decreasing. They're becoming more and more accessible for people, just like cell phones have done. This is something that I can use in my future and still participate in something that's going to be profitable. The fifth and final event that I would like to speak about was from Derek Van Rensburg's speech on corporate entrepreneurship. He discussed how companies have 3 horizons. Horizon 1, the core business, Horizon 2, emerging businesses, and Horizon 3, new businesses. It is in this third horizon that I found a key takeaway for myself that I can apply now today. This key takeaway was to always be looking for another opportunity. Have that foresight to see that more can happen to expand what you currently have. How that applies to me today, Derek was speaking in a corporate manner, but I can apply it to myself personally. I hear constantly that you should have a handful or 2 or 3 reputable news sources that you look at every day, that you learn from. Just stay abreast of all the things that are happening in the world, especially from a business perspective. I can apply this now, learning from Derek. The way I can ensure that I continue to grow and I continue to benefit myself is by always looking for that new opportunity. Always be aware of what's going on. If I can do that, then I can make an effort, and a good effort, to improve myself and prepare myself for my future, for my careers, and for businesses that I will create. These were my 5 key takeaways and my 5 lessons that I learned to apply to myself currently and in my future. And really, all of them are very connected. We can start looking at culture. I need to learn how to understand me and my values, my culture, what is important to me, and how can I act, or in what way is it that I act that makes me an effective individual for a company. If I can look at that in my businesses, I can realize one thing I've learned from Craig Boyan was how relationships matter. So I will create a culture of a company where relationships matter, and where I will have that one-on-one connection with the manager of my companies, of my small businesses. And if I can do that, I can know that I can be truthful, that I can establish a culture of truth in my employees and my managers. And that's only exacerbated by the fact of having a personal connection, of realizing their identity and their individuality. We can have a connection where truth can be spoken for the sake of bettering the company. Also, by constantly learning and exploring emerging markets and things that I can get involved in, I can learn things such as I did from Lanham Napier about technology, how I can get my companies involved in sustainability through the technology that is developing by involving my businesses in that exponentially growing industry, by incorporating solar panels into my business. All of these things were very valuable, and I would not have gotten them if I had not attended this Business Week event. It had such an important impact on me, especially being able to analyze these things strictly through this format so that I could share them with you, and hopefully you can learn something from it too, or you can analyze for yourself what you found important from attending Business Week. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.